will your operation benefit from having genetic defect testing done on your cattle? If so, I think that this video would be extremely beneficial for you. What we're going to do is go through the process of how we collect the proper sample and send it in to Bullnanza Stud Services, where you get the fastest turnaround time in the industry. My name is Colton Thigpen. I represent Bullnanza Stud Services, and today I'm going to show you two ways that we collect our samples. That's the only two ways that we run tests. So we are either going to do a blood test, which has to be done in a purple top tube, or a hair, which we do have hair cards that you can utilize. However, hair is a very easy form to send in. It can be done in a Ziploc baggie, an envelope, or our hair cards. The main thing is that each single sample is labeled properly, clean, and definitely separate from any of the other samples. I do want to reiterate that we do either one of these tests. You don't have to test both procedures on one animal. Either blood or hair, not both, is required. Okay, so now I'm going to show you up close and personal how to actually take a proper hair sample. Now remember, this test that we run is 100% accurate. The only error is human error. So that would be mislabeling. I'll show you the most common ways things are mislabeled. And it's also not getting a good enough sample for us to run. We are only as good as the sample you send us. So therefore, I'm going to use the hair card. Like I said, you can use a baggie, an envelope, as long as it's labeled properly and separate. So this hair card, what we need to do is come up with the system and be consistent with it. Are we going to label it and fill it out and then go to the animal and pull the hair and put it on there? Or are we going to pull the hair, put it directly on, and then label it? What we don't need is a lot of time in between, and definitely not multiple animals in between. One animal at a time. That way we don't write like this bull in the chute is Nelson. If I write Nelson and I have one standing behind him also, I go and pull the hair, set it down, and then go pull another one, and I'm holding two hair samples, and I'm like, oh, they were both black. Which one was Nelson? You are way better off to throw those and go get another sample. So that's what I'm going to do, is label afterwards. Let's go ahead and go get our sample. Some people think it's from the tail head. That is not correct. It is from the tail switch. Also, some people will just cut it with scissors. That is not correct. And some people will send us just a little bit of hair. That is not correct. And another thing, hair sample is only good on animals that are 6 months old or older. That's when we get the good follicle, good root. If they're younger than 6 months, it's best to send in a blood sample, and that way we know that we'll be able to run your test for you. So I'm going to get the switch. I'm going to get approximately this much. That's a little over 30 hairs more than likely. It feels about like a little smaller than the circumference of a pencil, kind of like a pixie stick. I'm going to do one swift motion upwards, and it comes right out. And you can see this is what you want. About that much is an ideal portion. And then you want those little bulbs and follicles on the tips. That's what we have to have. That's where the money is. So now I'm going to take this sample directly to my hair card. The hair cards can peel off the back. You don't have to pull off all the backing, but you can if you'd like. I let the follicles hang just slightly over. If you put them in here, it's fine, but they get stuck to the stickiness of the sticker, and so they're harder to pull off and get the sample from. So I hang the bulbs right off the end, put them about in the middle, and then I fold it over, stick it together, and that's a properly done sample. You can take the long end that doesn't have the bulbs and you can trim that just so they can package nicer and neater, but it's not necessary. All right, so now I have the sample taken. It's a good sample. It's a clean sample. It's on my hair card. This does me absolutely, positively no good. I have to fill this out, and I need to do it promptly before I forget and get distracted. So I'm going to go here to the table. Now, the biggest downside to writing this information after the hair is already pulled is because it's harder to write because it's not as flat of a surface. And like I said, we have to fill this out, which means we have to fill it out where it's legible and you can read it. Customer name and ranch, that's just basically who you want it represented by. So this one is actually owned by a man named John Center. So we're going to put John Center. And the animal ID, this does not have to be registration number or anything. All this is whatever name, whatever number, whatever letter will identify that animal for you, okay? So this is, to us, this is Nelson. This is for our use only. That's the only two things you have to put. We now have a completed, properly done hair sample, and it can be taken from here and shipped in really any manner of what you want. You can put all the hair samples in an envelope. You can put them in baggies. You can put them in a big vanilla envelope and send them to us. It does not have to be overnighted. The hair does not perish near as quickly as the blood does. So now we have a properly done hair sample. We can go on to the next animal or go to the post office and get it shipped. All right, now we're going to show you how to conduct a proper extraction of a blood sample. Once again, purple top tubes. That is the only tube that we run. This has a agent in it that keeps the blood from coagulating. That's good for you to know, because if you're about to send us samples and the blood is already coagulated, which means it's thick, it's no longer liquid, it doesn't move when you do this here, you're better off just going and getting another sample and not sending that one because we have to have blood in liquid form. The agent that's in the purple top keeps it from coagulating, but we still need to handle it properly and promptly. So this is an unmarked tube, unused tube. I'm going to take a fresh, unused syringe. This is a 6 cc syringe, but all we need is a minimum of 1, preferably 2 to 4 cc's to go into these tubes. A minimum of 1, preferably 2 to 4. I get a fresh new needle. This is an 18 gauge 1.5 inch. Preferably, I would use an 18 gauge 1 inch. A 16 gauge 1 inch is perfectly fine as well. The key to this, where people can mess up, you have to use a brand new needle, a brand new syringe on every single animal. If I go and draw blood, put it in there, think, oh, it's empty, I'll reuse it, there's remnant of the last animal still in there, and if we happen to get that DNA sample, that's how we can mess up. So a new syringe, new needle for every single animal. Okay. All right, now we're going to take the blood sample. This can be a little more tricky and requires just a touch more skill because we're hitting a vein and drawing the blood. And that vein is going to be, we're going to lift the tail up. And I don't like drawing it from the side just because I can have better vision and better accuracy when I'm directly behind the animal. So you want to make sure the animal is piped so you don't get kicked, so you stay safe. And the animal, you know, this one has a squeeze on him, so he doesn't do a lot of moving around. But I'm going to lift the tail directly over his back like this and go to the middle of the tail to draw the sample. So I'm here directly behind the animal. I'm lifting his tail straight. I don't want it to be crooked because I want to get right in the middle of the tail. That's where that vein is. Get 3 to 4 mils of blood. And it's as simple as that. Don't be discouraged if you go in and no blood comes out. Just move over slightly, move up or down the tail slightly. That vein is right there in the middle. Some of them, you know, it's just like people, they're all different. You might have to try a couple times to get that vein. But now I have my 3 to 4 mils of blood. That's the ideal amount. He did good. I got on the first try. Doesn't happen all the time. Don't worry. Okay, so now that I have my blood in the syringe, I promptly, not messing around, not going and doing something else, throwing this on the dash, I promptly go take it from my syringe to my purple top blood tube, press it in the center, dispense the blood into the vial, and now the blood is in there. There's nothing else we have to do as far as getting the blood in there. Now, just like with the hair, now that we have this, it is absolutely, positively, completely useless just like this. We have to get it labeled. We have to give it labeled before we move on to the next one, so there's no messing up. Now, this particular blood tube, this sticker on here is not from us. All we need is the ranch name or owner name. And then we need the animal's ID, his number, his letter, his name, whatever you identify him by or know him by, that's all we need on here. So I'm going to write John Center. Okay, that's a little bit hard to read, so I'm going to write it a little better. I'm going to go over it so there's no confusion. John Center. It's legible, it's clean, it's nice. Now the name of the animal. It's still useless without the name of the animal. This is 100% positively, this is Nelson. So we have ranch name or owner name, and then the animal ID. Now, there's another step we have to do when we're dealing with blood. We don't immediately have to get it refrigerated, but as promptly as possible is okay. I brought out a cooler with me. If you don't, you need to have something. I use a koozie a lot of times to put these in, to keep it shaded. You don't want this blood in direct sunlight. That's what makes it coagulate. So I'm going to put it here for now. If I have to go on to the next one before I get it to a cooler, that's okay. I can do a handful of them that way. But once I have it here, I then take my sample to my cooler. It's just a simple styrofoam cooler. It has an ice pack in it. I want to put the sample in here to ship it. Now, like I said, we're only as good as the sample we receive. So therefore, if I just throw this in here and it has this hard ice pack that's probably going to melt, get some condensation, there's a good chance that this could come in and be broken, or the water gets on here and smears the writing, and then the sample becomes useless once it arrives to us. So I would probably keep this sample or multiple samples in the koozie, and then wrap them with tape, put them in a Ziploc baggie, protect them in some form, place them in there. Then I would take this package and have it overnighted. You need to overnight blood just because it is the easiest to expire, easiest to go bad, easiest to coagulate and have a problem with. But it's also a day faster most times with our process. So if you're in a big hurry and you want to do a rush test, we do have rushing capabilities to bump you to the front of the line, get your test done within 24 to 72 hours for a rush fee. Blood is the fastest option on that because the hair takes longer to break down. Whoa, 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 we're not done yet. Before you ship this, before you package this and ship this, we have these forms. Mary, myself, anyone on the Bullnanza team can always text you a link to be able to print off this form, or you can go to the website, get the link from there, and print it off. This form is very simple. It has your information, your shipping information, and also your payment information. It has how we charge. And then this area here is where you would put the animal information and which tests that you want done. We need to fill this out, again, where you can read it. Nice and neat, and send that with your sample. Okay, so in filling this out, write my name or ranch name, whichever you prefer, address, email. This is very important because this is how you will receive your results. We're working on a system where once we receive your sample, you will be notified by email that we've received your sample, and then that will explain that this is also the same email we'll use to send you your results. Once we have the result, once we have the payment, your results will be emailed to you directly. This bull is not registered that we're working on here, so we're not going to do association number. We're not going to have to worry about this information. Lab ID, that is for us, not for you. Tattoo, he's not registered. Name, his name is Nelson. This is exactly what's going to be on his sample, so we can match it up. Since he's not registered and it's not getting submitted to an association, this does not matter, does not matter, does not matter. I want all 3 tests done. Then I come down here, total tests. I count my checks, 1, 2, 3. 3 tests fits in my 1 to 15 tier pricing system. So whatever number I come up with, it'll be times 30. 3 tests times 30, I am at $90. I did, let's just say I did a hair sample. And now we take pretty much any form of payment. You do not have to put your credit card information on here if you're not comfortable. Just contact Mary, get paid up with her in the office, and then you're good to go. It's as simple as that. Put this in with your samples. You do not have to put each, say you want to send us samples on 10 head. You do not have to send us 10 different sheets. 1 sheet, and I start filling it out. I got Betsy. I got 03. I got 617. Don't need any of that information. I want PHA on this one, TH on this one, TH and PHA on this one. So now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm still in the 1 to 15. If I did a few more head, 10 and 12, and I wanted all 3 done, then I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Let's go here, add a test here, 14, 15, 16. Now I'm in the $25 per test. So 16 times 25, I'm an Aggie. I'm not going to embarrass myself doing that math, but you get the drift. That's how you properly fill out this. That's our pricing system, and we look forward to working with you. All right, so now you know how to properly take a hair and or a blood sample. You know how to fill out the paperwork, and you know how to send it in. You also know what's important to us as far as what has to be done. It has to be labeled properly. It has to be labeled legibly. We're only as good as the sample is. And once we get that sample, within 2 weeks, you get your results. That's the fastest in the industry right now, fastest in the world. We also can get even faster than that with our rush test capabilities. If you let us know what's coming down the pipe that you need a rush test, you're in a bind, we have a rush fee. We can push you to the front, and we can get that done within 24 to 72 hours to help you in your situation. Thank you for watching. I hope this was help and added value to you. I hope you're excited to get fast results, and I hope you're excited about getting good samples. We're excited to work with you. Thank you. This is Bullnanza Stud Services. We are the fastest in the world.